Welcome to the Wizards of Amazon podcast, where we cover all things private label. My name is Carlos Alvarez, and I will be your host for the show. On today's show, I have two amazing people from Honu Worldwide, Norman Farrar and Afolabi Oyarukan. Afolabi, did I get that name right?
Yeah, good.
Yes. Starting off on a good foot. How you guys doing?
Doing great. How about yourself?
Awesome. We haven't spoken forever, huh?
It's been a long time.
Good what? Good 48 hours?
Yeah, something like that.
For the listeners, Norman and Afolabi just pulled off an amazing presentation to the Wizards of Amazon meetup group on Zoom. Obviously, they didn't come to Miami. I guess everyone's still practicing some form of social distancing. I have not had this many positive messages after the event to date in 4 years of meetups that Norman and Afolabi pulled off at this meetup. I want to say, in all honesty, and I said this before the show, the topic, I'm going to get the exact title wrong, but it was like the 7 things your sourcing agent doesn't tell you. That's about it. That's right what the title was, right?
That's about it. Yep.
Yeah. So I 15 years of doing this, I was really just, the group's going to love this. And I'm going to love spending time with Norman and meeting Afolabi. But it's a bad mindset to have, but I'm not going to learn anything new here is really what I thought going into this. And in reality, I learned 2 or 3 things differently. One, I think I had just changed, and I think we might briefly touch on it here, but had to do with getting a quote in RMB, which was a new change that I made. And maybe on the show, we get to talk about that a little. Mm-hmm. What was the other one about not getting your quotes in FOB? That was a big one, especially how the slide did it. It was like a ha ha ha. You don't know what you're doing if you're asking for FOB. And I'm like, I always ask for FOB in Xworks. So in this show, I know my listeners maybe have not got to Norm. You're everywhere. You have like 90 successful businesses in the Amazon space, and you're on every show. But I'd love for the listeners that don't know you, Norman, and definitely don't know maybe you yet, Afolabi, that you guys can, introduce yourselves, introduce how Honu Worldwide, I get it now. I get what you said, Norman. Honu Worldwide came to be and how we got here.
Okay. Well, for me, this is Norm, if you're just listening on the podcast and not video. All right. So I started back probably in the early 90s with brand identity and corporate identity. Kind of led to my first website, which was just a fluke. I was working with a Fortune 500 company, and they wanted me to put something up on the internet for their dealers. And of course, knowing nothing about it at all, I said, yes, I can do it. And which led to a bunch of other companies coming to me and saying, hey, you did it for them. Can you do it for us? So that started out that side of my e-com business. That's the start, which got into pretty cool. Like by 1997, 1999, I had a website that was a print on the first, I think it was probably a handful of us, but had print on demand sites. Ended up with my family, my dad and my brother. We had a factory here, or a few in Canada and the US, but opened 2 in Taiwan. And now we have a factory in China. It's led to warehousing and specialty packaging and a bunch of other stuff. But anyways, Amazon became my perfect storm because of all these different elements kind of coming together. So I ended up opening up an Amazon managed services company. I have a content marketing company, which kind of deals in a bunch of different things, but content, press releases, public relations. And then Honu came around, and I'll tell you about that just after Afolabi goes through and talks. I've talked too much already about myself.
Again, so everybody knows the difference. Afolabi's about to speak. This is me, and the other voice, Norman's the one with the thick Spanish accent, right? That's all.
Thick Spanish accent. Yes.
No, yeah. Afolabi, how about yourself?
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me at on the show, Carlos. So I started, I kind of bumped into sourcing several years ago, maybe 2001-ish. I designed some shoes And I was looking for where to make it. I was looking for how to develop these shoes. I designed them. They look really cool on the computer. These were the days of dial-up internet, and I just couldn't find who could help me out. So I sent out a bunch of, this was even before Alibaba even became popular or even was doing any business. So I was looking for a factory to help me make the shoes. And after sending out a bunch of emails, one factory in Taiwan replied me. So I went to meet with them, and they were able to help me with the shoes. And after that, people started asking me, how did you do it? How did you get your shoes made? I was actually one of the first few people that were invited by Amazon in 2001 or something, when they were just transitioning into selling non-book merchandise. And I was, there was no Seller Central. Everything was like flat file in those days. So I would upload the flat file and then it appears on Amazon. So people started asking me, how did I do it? So I started having companies and entrepreneurs call me to help them source. And I kind of enjoy it because I just like negotiating prices. I like haggling. I enjoy it. So I formed, Trillion Source that time, and I met Norman, and
it's been downhill ever since. No,
yeah.
Yep.
And a friend of mine, introduced me to Norman, and we started talking, and he threw me some contact. It's like, okay, here you go, try it out. Let me see how you do. And then we got some really good price. And I said, look, Norm, this is what I do. I don't say it out in the public, but I have some really, really hacks that I use to get products in China that many people don't know about. And, we just started on it from there, and it's been really good. I enjoy working with him.
That's awesome. You're super modest as well. You just said I did some quick math in my head. You said you've only been doing it a few years. I think that's closer to 2 decades from the math that I'm doing. 2 decades. We're talking about around the time of Amazon flat files and right when books were changing. That's like saying a couple days ago, biblical days, when you've been doing this for 2 decades.
Yes.
And you've been all in on this for 2 decades. So that's a lot of experience in this. The shoe. The show's not going to be about the shoe, but just out of curiosity, because I thought getting into shoes would be a very easy thing, and there's actually a lot to shoes in the dance shoe side of things. But was this like a unique shoe, or did you just why a shoe?
They were sneakers. They were like very colorful sneakers way before Nike and Adidas started making orange, green shoes. My shoes were really colorful and people loved it. And what happened was that I didn't do inspection because I didn't know anything about all those things. I didn't quality control, inspection. So the shoes came 7,512 pairs of shoes. They came 2 sizes smaller.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
It was tough. People were returning and asking for, exchange and stuff. So, but shoe processing shoes, you have to do mold, a lot of mold. Yeah. So in a typical product, you do 1 mold, but in shoes, you do mold for every size.
Yeah, painfully aware.
Yes,
definitely. So how do you meet the bearded guy? And for those listeners that can't see Norm's beard, Norm is the bearded guy. How do you meet Norm again?
Yes, so I went to a mastermind in Mexico several years back, and I met a friend of mine, Christine, and I wrote this. I finally put all my secret hacks for sourcing. I put it together. So
where is this?
I wrote it down. I emptied my head down.
Email it to me.
I wrote it down and I sent it to Chrissy. I said, hey, Chrissy, can you help me read this before I publish it on a funnel side or something? And she read it. She's like, oh my gosh, you need to talk to Norm. I said, who is Norm? And then she made the intro on Facebook, and Norm read it, and Norm says, no, you need to share this with my group. And that's how we met.
Oh, that's awesome. Norm, what about from your side? You approve that message? Is that how it went down?
I don't know if I
to add
approve
into
that, but one interesting thing. So Afolabi was into shoes, right? And my dad owned a shoe component factory, and I was supposed to be shipped off to England back in the 80s to become a shoe designer. It never happened, but I was supposed to be working at Clark's. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
It's amazing how one
Just
thing can
parallel.
have such a profound impact.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So Honu Worldwide is birthed almost immediately. You guys realize that you both have complementary skills and you should partner up, or was it not so sudden?
No, it was pretty quick. Like we looked, one of the things that if he could, just like you, Carlos, if I could get a curveball and not know about it, being in the business for as long as I have been, then I thought, okay, there's something to this. And oh yeah, one of the Afolabi's, this is again something he doesn't usually bring up, but he's worked directly with Alibaba on 3 different projects. So if they're going to him, he's got to know his stuff. So anyways, just thought I'd throw that out
A little something.
but we started talking, and we had a call with my it's just like a group mentoring program, and they thought the same thing. All of a sudden they threw in a couple of orders. How do I get a hold of Afolabi? And then we just started talking, and I said, look, maybe I can help you out with some sales and marketing. You build the sourcing and the other side of the business. And then it launched, and we had it was actually not a bad website, but we just launched our new website, and it looks really great. It's got a ton of information. We're planning on putting a ton of content on it. So
no, you're involved in it. It's going to have a ton of content on it.
Possibly. I know a guy.
Possible. That goes without saying, Norm.
Yeah, I know a guy in the business.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say there's probably going to be some press releases tied behind this business too.
And you're good. Just a couple.
So look, nowadays I feel like I can throw a rock and hit a sourcing agent nowadays. And it's I get approached all the time in all my different groups as, we're the best thing since peanut butter. Yeah. You got to deal with us. We do everything. And normally they start off with something that's alarming to me without knowing further. And that is, not only are we your sourcing agent, we inspect your goods too. And that just sends my blood pressure through the roof. But you guys definitely, for that subject to be exciting to me again, you guys definitely are cut from a different cloth. What else though? I feel like I'm not getting it all. What else do you, in your own words, do you feel Honu Worldwide does or knows, brings to the table that's different than I'm going to do air quotes, average sourcing company?
Hey, Afolabi, you're going to be the best one to answer this, but I just want to lead up to this. You're right. It's a dime a dozen business. And usually it's made up of a lot of failed Amazon sellers or, people trying to provide a service because they don't want to throw their cash into inventory. So it's very similar to the old days when in early 2000, when everybody all of a sudden became an SEO guy, and then it became a social media manager. And you find out when you go through 100, which I've gone through, that when they say they're an expert, what they mean is that they've taken a course in high school, or they've, saw some videos on YouTube. They went to EWU, or they went to the Canton Fair. Now they're an expert. I typically don't say this, but one of my strengths has always been growing companies, is making it vertically integrated. So to take control, get the experts, and to grow the company that way. If somebody does approach me and they have this shotgun approach, usually I run. But the weird thing about it is that's the approach I take, but I can back it up, and Afolabi can back it up with the people that we have. They are experts in their field. And, right from in the sourcing business anyways, from A to Z, we can take care of those. And Afolabi, I mean, you can take it from here and just tell people, sort of what we do and why we're.
I would add something to that for
Mm-hmm.
Afolabi, is that, exactly like that. Failed Amazon sellers. Another popular one I see is they happen to be living in China for something completely unrelated and discovered Amazon there, and then leveraged the fact that they're in China.
Mm-hmm.
So they can do all of these things and are all of a sudden an expert in that particular subject. And I'm just like, I mean, if you were living in Cuba, that does not mean that I could get, you're the guy to go to for Cuban cigars. Like, that has nothing to do with anything,
That's right.
So yeah, I totally understand that. Afolabi, sorry, I cut you off.
No, that's great. There's a lot. People ask me, okay, so how are you different? So I say, well, let's start talking let's start working on your project. I will show you more, but these are some of the things we do. A sourcing agent will typically help you find suppliers and get you prices and help you place orders and samples and stuff like that. But we took a different approach to actually providing solutions. We want to look at your whole business as a whole and see where are your pain points, where are you losing money, so that we can help you redesign it from ground up, both in sourcing and logistics, and now into IP as well to protect your IP. So if you go to a sourcing agent, they will tell you, okay, fill out this RFQ, we'll go find your supplier. But when I'm talking to our customers, I say, okay, why are you using this material? And they're like, what kind of question is that? I'm like, yeah, I need to know why you're using this material. It's like, well, I don't know anything else. I'm like, do you know that this material is not good? Why don't you use this other material? I was talking to a client a few months ago, and he came up with this big product. And I said, are you going to be selling this on Amazon? He said, yeah. I said, well, I wouldn't make my box that big. He's like, why not? I said, I'll cut your product into two and I will put a connector in the middle. That has saved you like a lot of money in your storage cost on Amazon by just doing that. He's like, I never thought of that. I said, look, you're selling a product that has a fabric. Well, did you always think about mold? The fabric you want to use will catch on to mold really fast, and people are going to write a negative review. Why don't we weave some bamboo into your fabric? And he's like, oh, I never thought of that. So we put the product development element into everything we do, because I did product development in college as well. So
just a couple years of it, right?
Yeah.
Just a couple. A little. You dabbled in it.
Yeah. 2 years of college was focused on product development and interface design. So we bring this to the table to help you save also on your storage, on your shipping, and then we go into IP as well. We help you protect in China trademarks. So it's like from the start to the finish, we just want to help you grow your business rather than just being a sourcing agent. We just want to provide solutions to help you grow, and we'll suggest materials, we'll suggest different kind of box. And if somebody needs more of a branding help, I push them to Norm. I say, Norm, I think this is your area. Help them with the branding and all these things, because they need help. This product, this design sucks. Could you help them out a little bit? So that's some of the things we bring to the table.
So Carlos, one of the other things, there's two things. So you don't have to spend big bucks to figure out, whether you're getting a good price. And when you're looking at Alibaba, and I hate just saying Alibaba, I'm just saying large sourcing platform, you get mixed up with brokers and you don't know if you're getting a good price. So if you don't know if you're getting a good price and you don't want to go out and find, 10 different sourcing agents, one of the things that we set up was this repricing tool. So, okay, give us what you got quoted, and we want proof of it. You can make up anything, but we take it, we look at it, and then we go to different manufacturers. We know the manufacturer, we might have to go and source them out, but then we come back with, here you go, this is what we found. And what we're finding is that more than not, we're, I don't know what it is, 8 out of 10 times, we're getting much better prices than what the people are currently pricing because they're going through layer of layer. Now, there might be the odd one that is getting an incredible price or an inferior product, and they are not willing to boost up to a better price. So that's one of the main reasons why we can do this. And the other reason is that we can kind of put it all together, like Afolabi was saying. So if they are looking for the product development right on through finding the factories, we talked extensively on this yesterday. The simple HTS codes, your harmonized tariff codes, just being able to adjust that a little bit could save you a lot of money. So there's so many different things that we work with, and if we're not experts in, we go and find experts to help us out. So that's the difference. We'll let you know if we're sourcing something out, and if we have to go and get somebody who's a specialty lab, to analyze some product, we'll let you know. We can't do it all, and anybody that says that they do it all, it's crazy. There's so many small elements that we have to do, when you're sourcing these products. You can't be an expert in everything. We try to in the major areas, and we hire experts to go out and source. But, too many people just expect that it's sort of this one all-in-one that you can just hand it on a plate and everything is fine. They don't realize that we're actually taking trips to a lot of these factories, that we're taking trains out to these factories, and there's a cost associated with it. But to get you in to the sourcing side, just to make sure that you're getting a good price, it starts with what we call a repricer. And I mean, there might be other companies that are doing that too. This is not a pitch for the company. This is just telling you that if you have an opportunity to get a secondary price, I would always check that out. And then when you go to the factory, when it starts to get sourced, a lot of the time, if you're not paying an upfront, like a setup cost, you're going to find that your percentage off of your sale is going to be very high. I mean, 10, 15% is the highest I've ever seen. But like for some will charge $100, some will charge like $500 is what we charge, $497, and we have a 5% override on the sale. But you're saving so much money. Like if you take a look at some of the savings that you can save, it's nuts. Now, the other thing, I'm rambling. I'm a long-winded person, but here's an example of taking a product that is $16 and just letting you know what can happen. So product development. So you can take a product at $16, and this is a real product that we're working with right now. It was launched a while ago, and it launched at $49, and I thought I could take it up. Well, I didn't know at the time, but I was able to bring it up to $97, and then we topped out at $124 for this $16 item. And then and I was talking to the client yesterday. So we took a look at the case to try to improve it, but we took a wooden case, put it inside of it, and now the product's selling. It's just been relaunched at $224. And what we did with the rebranding is we made one a premium in a wooden case, one in a regular case, and we're thinking about a third case, but it's pretty much the same product, just with a different case. One's at 90 or 124 right now, one's at 224, and the product costs $16. So these are the things you can
share that product with me after the show.
Yeah, sure. But it's not the only one. That's the thing. Right. Like you can rebrand something as premium, and sometimes you put a little bit more essential oil in, but it's all perception.
Tell me about the repricer you mentioned. Is that Is that a tool like a repricer you're selling? It sounds more like it's an in-house tool you use to get better pricing. Am I correct?
The in-house tool that we're using for repricer, I'm not meaning to call you a tool, but it's Afolabi.
Yes, we do it in-house. You just send us your link to your to your product, and sometimes, most of the times, we get your real sample of your product that you're already selling. You give us your invoices, you buying it from your existing suppliers, and we go out and hit the road and find you 2-3 suppliers, similar or better quality at a much cheaper price.
Guys, I mean, this seems like, I don't know if the expression is velvet glove or silk glove, like red carpet treatment. It sounds like, am I correct in assuming that your customers are established brands?
Yes.
No,
that have been veteran sellers for a while, or
no,
who?
it's all over the map, Carlos. It's all over. So we're getting people that are not even going on Amazon. It might be developing something for retail. It really is right across the board. We have a very diverse audience, or a diverse client base, and it can start from product development, or it could be an existing product that they just want to have repriced, or once we know the product, if they come to us with ideas, they give us the information, we'll go and source it out.
We have startups, we have, all across the spectrum, actually.
Mm-hmm. Can you give me an example? I believe I heard one on Saturday, or a few actually on Saturday, but for listeners that haven't, Afolabi, I believe earlier you mentioned that in addition to sourcing the product, I'm going to use the word differentiating the product as well, that you look at the business as a whole.
Yep.
and find other ways to save the business money that's working with you, which is a huge win. I mean, you want to definitely lower your product costs, but no one's going to be upset when they realize they can save a few $1,000s in another area of their business that they weren't aware of. Do you have any examples that you can share where businesses came to you for a product and left or stayed saving in other areas of the business that they didn't even come to you for?
Oh yes. I was doing a quote meeting last week. This is a brand that sells almost 300,000 units a year of a particular product. So after we got them pricing for about 11 or 12 products, so I gave them a whole spreadsheet. I said, okay, let me give it to you in full. Now, if you ship to West Coast and you store it at a 3PL, this is the price.
And I'm sorry, and that was their normal way of doing business?
That's their normal way of doing it. They will store it for 90 days. I said, why are you storing for 90 days? All we need to do is to plan your production very well. If we plan it, you're going to save an extra $2 to $3 on each product.
Wow.
Multiply that by 300,000 pieces, that's almost $1 million.
Wow. Are you adopting?
They're going to say, yeah.
Get me now. Are you adopting? So let's unpack this. So the person that came to you for help,
Uh-huh.
they had an existing product, and their normal way of doing it, I imagine, was ordering a lot more than what they should have.
Yes.
Which forced them into some high cost storage.
Yes.
On the West Coast. And so you were able to streamline their ordering. Yes. So that it would be more efficient. I imagine save a ton in opportunity costs for not tying up so much money for so long on massive orders. Is that correct?
Exactly.
And how did you do it? Like what were you able to do different, if you can share?
Yes. So what we did was, first we get all their samples, and I shipped everything to our office in China. And
so you have an office in China?
Yes.
Two.
Two. We have in Guangzhou and we have in Yu.
And you've built these over the last, what, few years is what we're calling it, right?
2 months.
2 months, last 2 months. But go ahead.
So we sent the samples and we took the samples to different factories and we say, I want these or better. And the customer complained that his existing product smells, some of them had stains. So we had to keep that into consideration. And we took it to the factory, explained everything that is going on, and we were able to get the pricing. And we even found out that premium materials that the customer actually liked, but he wasn't getting, we were able to get premium material to make his product in without raising the price. So he was able to save. He got a better material product, and also we looked at how can we, what's the CBM of your product? We found out that the storage and shipping costs were too high because the products were too fluffy. So we had to suck hair out of the product and fold it tight and put it in boxes so that it reduced the size by half.
See, that's genius. This is something that I did. I'm assuming it was wrong for the first few years that I started. At this point, we had a few 40s coming over every week. And we thought we were being super efficient and ahead of the curve. We had everything on pallets. So it would be super easy to just take these pallets with our fancy forklift out of the container. And I went to it was something on shipping from China or something. I don't think the company's around anymore, but it led off with something that hit me the same way your guys' FOB slide hit me on Saturday. And that was the person stacked up, showed a picture of how much space all of these pallets took inside of a container and how that could have been product and had a way to multiply that out by a product that didn't need to be palletized. How much more product I could have shipped. So I guess in a similar way, what you're saying about sucking the air out of this product and compressing it better without hurting the integrity of the product allowed the person to ship a lot more efficiently.
And the other thing about this, strangely enough, because you sucked all the air out of it, it actually became part of the customer experience. Like they enjoyed part of the reviews would be, the way that it expanded. I couldn't believe it expanded like this. And so, that I think will be one of the main key points that people are going to love about this product now with the air sucked out of it. And one of the other things that I think we just skimmed over, but it's negotiations. It's inventory, it's negotiations and inventory management, which we can do now with a lot of the Chinese factories. And Afolabi, go ahead and explain that. But that is something you can't do without having either a sourcing agent or a good trading company.
Yep. Especially when it comes to cash flow management, a lot of customers come to us and they always running out of money. So now we're able to find them. Okay, look, you need 5,000 pieces, right? Okay, let's order 5,000 pieces and let's pay 30% on the whole 5,000 pieces. But you only need to ship 2,000 at the first shipment, right? They say, yeah, okay. So we will take only 2,000, we'll pick up only 2,000, we keep the remaining 3,000 in the factory.
Oh, so hold on. So this makes sense to anyone listening. The person had put a down payment for the 5,000. And they only wanted to ship the 2,000. When they went to ship the 2,000, they paid the remaining balance on just the 2,000?
Exactly.
Okay.
Or we've been able to do this a lot. It could be a portion and then another portion and then 30 days.
Yep. You can also split that balance on the 2,000 you're picking up. You can split it into, installments as well.
I've had success getting, terms is what we're talking about here with factories, but I do have to say, it was not easy. It was really not easy. As a matter of fact, one of these factories, they attended my wedding. I attended their wedding. I mean, it was just, we were great. And it was very hard to get terms. So do you find it that it was easier to get those terms because you were negotiating on the business's behalf, or because the factory had sort of an open order running with this person and it made them more inclined to do it?
I would say some of the factories we've dealt with before, so we have relationship. I think terms ride on relationships that you've had with the factories, and
like
also
Wang Ji.
Yes, and also your negotiations. They know. I mean, we tell them, look, this is a brand that has been selling on Amazon for a while, or it's been, and we show them proof. So why not help them make it? They're just launching a new product. This is just an extension of their product. We just want to, and we get away with actually getting the factory to store the remaining quantity for free. So that's another warehousing cost that you're saving because they're storing it for you.
It sounds like you're pulling off miracle after miracle is what I'm hearing from my side.
And it's happening. Like you do have the suppliers that won't let you do it, but this is a whole change in inventory management. So this is something that, especially going into fourth quarter, if you use this process, and even if you can't get like the 30-day terms, set something up like this where you order 5,000 units, you get let's say you get 2,000 that come back to your warehouse, 1,000 go over to Amazon. So it's 1,000 in your warehouse, 1,000 over at Amazon. And then as soon as you start to ship product over to Amazon from your warehouse, you tell your supplier who's holding another 2,000 or so in the inventory to ship it over. Now, if you're moving the product really quickly because it's fourth quarter, you might have to either ship it out by air, high-speed vessel, and then a combination of that and just regular ocean freight. But then it automatically goes back into production. So what you got is you've got this full circle that you don't have to worry about product going out of inventory in fourth quarter.
Well, yeah, that's genius.
Yeah.
So, and it is more and more suppliers are allowing to do this because how we leverage it is we tell the supplier, and again, it doesn't work with everybody. And you do have to put, some cases you can put 30%, but we've had the odd time where we never even had to put the 30% on the balance, which is wild. I mean, we couldn't believe it, but it's happened a few times. But you're telling people, look at what Amazon, like all the fees are going up. They're doing this, they're doing that. We've got to make sure that this money is used for marketing dollars so we can promote the product that we're buying from you. You're our only source. These are the sales from last year. We know, and like you can prove it to them. Yep. And so as long as you talk to them about using the dollars for marketing, that you're going to be able to bring in more money because you can take that money up front, promote, which means more sales. A lot of the times they'll help you out one way or another.
Yep.
Awesome. We touched a little bit, and all this sort of ties into the same thing I'm about to say. Negotiation with the supplier. I feel like negotiation could be a 2-hour-long episode in and of itself, but since we hinted on it, and I want to be respectful of everybody's time, what could both of you share? If you could only say one, I just on Saturday heard, I think both of you say 10, but if you could only share one, your top one that people are getting wrong when it's coming to negotiation, like they don't know, or how about this? They don't know, or they assume that what they're doing is the right way to negotiate when they first meet a supplier. share one thing you feel like you would want to tell them if you could only share one thing.
I would say the time of negotiation is very key.
Timing.
The timing. You go in there and you start negotiating from the very beginning, it's wrong. You haven't proven yourself to your supplier that you're a serious buyer. Why should they waste their time with you?
Okay, so you're preaching to the choir here, but I want to like almost role play this. So I go up to your booth, and the booth is probably better than even just on Alibaba, but I go up to your booth and I randomly grab a stainless steel French press off your table, and I say, what's your MOQ? How much? And you tell me what? So tell me some price. You tell me some price, and I immediately say a lesser price for this, and I want to lower my MOQ. That's what happens a lot.
Exactly.
Right. So,
I tell you 5,000 MOQ at $2 a piece. And
I immediately want to cut the amount of money per unit, and I want to cut the MOQ.
Yep.
So timing, you're saying there's nothing wrong with trying to lower your MOQ, and there's nothing wrong with trying to lower the price, but it's not the right time to do it.
Yes, you have to wait till the end when the supplier is fully vested. You are vested, the suppliers, you requested for samples, he sent you samples, you approved the samples, all of you are good, and you're holding your money in your hand, you're about to pull the trigger, and you said, wait.
I agree with the timing, but is the supplier not fully vested until you guys have broke bread together and there's been an exchange of funds?
They're not because you haven't made them run around at all. They haven't made samples for you. They haven't spent so much time in paying their rep, talking to you or whoever you're talking to. They haven't gotten to that stage of knowing that you're serious.
So build the relationship again, Guangxi, build that, get them to invest some time and resources. Well, time is resources, but invest some resources into you. And then right before you're about to send money, then is probably the first best time.
Yes, it is.
To begin negotiating.
Negotiation, yep.
Yeah, that's an awesome one. You shared something like that on Saturday too. And I was having to do a bunch of like answering messages from everybody on the side. Are they sharing the slides? How can I contact them? All this stuff. So I really couldn't hear that one Saturday, but that's an awesome one. I agree 100%. What about you, Norm?
There's the one that first comes to mind, and I do have two, sorry, but the one that's so important.
I'm shocked.
Is that you got to sign off. You have to sign off on a production sample. And then in that production sample, like on that production sample, you want to make sure that like whenever you're placing the order, I'm going off topic here, but it's so important that you mention that it's got to match that production sample, because you might have the first 3 orders come in 100%, but all of a sudden the quality, maybe in a spring or in the quality of the plastic or EVA, it starts to, drop. And then you get a nice little surprise when you start to get all these 1 stars. So you've got to always mention that. Now, what I love is negotiating on the product. My dog ate my beard comb, so I can't use the same thing, but from Saturday. So I'm less one beard comb. But anyways, I used that as an example where you negotiate on that product, and you can get it both ways: the product by itself, or with the packaging. I go out and I do my own product sourcing. So first of all, I'm getting them to give me the product by itself. And usually what you'll find is if they're doing the packaging, a lot of the times they're probably marking it up 30, 40, 50, even 100%. So I'll go and I'll get a designer, get my own packaging done, and then ship it to the company. It costs nothing to ship to the company. They package it. And like what Afolabi was saying is when you give them the packaging, you tell them could you kit it for me? Could you, just put it into the box? And that's usually never a problem. They'll just do that.
At no additional charge.
At no additional charge. Yeah. And when you're buying the product, And when you're buying the product or the boxes and the packaging, you'll go for a higher amount, because if you're going for like 500 units, it might be $2. If you're going for 2,500 units, it's not a big dollar, and it might come down to 79 cents. And then the manufacturer will also store that for free, because they know that they're going to get the business.
Oh yeah, the packaging. That's all you cleared it up. Yeah, go higher, order more on the packaging than. Yeah, absolutely. So I believe that was one of the two. That was negotiate on the product separate from the packaging.
Yes. And then the other one was the product sample. One brilliant one that Afolabi does in negotiating, by the way, I think you like this, is silence.
Oh, that's when he took over my group on Saturday.
Yeah.
That's when he took over the group. It's funny. That was a perfect time too. My wife and I, we have this one good thing that's come out of this COVID stuff. Like I've just developed a whole lot of more like just routines and stuff with my wife. But one of the ones we are doing is a masterclass. I don't know if you've heard of this, masterclass.com.
No.
Fantastic. I think it's only like $150 a year, and it's the subject matter experts in any topic imaginable. They give a masterclass for you to be able to interact with them and learn the subject. So the one that I'm talking about is about negotiation, and it's from this Never Split the Difference, the author from Never Split the Difference. And it has to do with using the power of silence in a negotiation. Like they're using silence when they're dealing with high level hostage negotiations. So you're bringing a very powerful tool, like what you're mentioning. Using silence is extremely powerful, and more than just negotiating on products. But can you touch on the example, because the way you said it, Afolabi, was on Saturday was just amazing. Like, when are you deploying silence?
So when you get to that part, we got to the part of you're about to order, you're about to send money, and you said, wait, this is the price I want to buy, because I got other quotes and they're like 10% lower than you. So I want my own price at 10% lower, or 15. Can you beat that price? And they say no. And then you go silent. You don't reply them. You'll be very tempted. I guarantee you'll be tempted to reply them. Do not answer their WeChat. Don't answer their WhatsApp. Don't answer their email. They're going to send you a bunch of emails. Hey, boss, where are you? What, are you ready for the order? Do you want to do it now? Don't answer. Just keep quiet. Somebody asks for how long? For however long it takes. And watch how they start negotiating with themselves. When they start that, yes, you've won. Okay, come back. All right, we'll do it for 15% off. Okay, we'll do it for, still keep.
Or if we use this material instead of, we could, they start coming up with creative ways that they can create this awesome.
To win that business. And then they say, okay, we'll do it. And you can just keep silent. Don't talk.
I do that, and it's worked, but I've never acknowledged it as a tactic. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
It's just something I've always done.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never, when someone would ask me, what's the best way to, haggle with your supplier on price, I never once said silence. Because to me, it was just, I don't know, like I didn't identify it as a tactic a tool in your toolbox.
Yep.
And that's exactly what it is. Probably the sharpest tool in the shed. I mean, that's an amazing one.
Yeah, it works. Most of the time, some of them might be maybe, 1 or 2 out of 10, maybe like, no, they'll still come down, but that silence really messes them up, and they can't stand it. They will cave in eventually.
All right. Well, we could do this for days, talking about this, to be respectful of your time. But before we start winding this down, is there anything else you'd like to share to the audience about how to get in contact with your company, and what sort of seller is a right fit for your company? By that, I mean, I'm just getting started. saw a bunch of videos. I really want to get into PL. Or is it only, you know, I'm about to hit that 7 figures gross per year, 8 figures gross per year. Now I contact you.
Well, a lot of the larger sellers have this this thought process where they've already been dealing, and you probably have this, Carlos. I mean, I've been dealing in China for so many years. There's nothing you can do. And that's the hardest client for us to get. That's probably the easiest client for us to help. Even if you knock off pennies, a lot of the times, you know, it's bigger dollars at the end of the day. We don't want tire kickers, people just shopping and shopping. If we will do the best we can for the Amazon seller, e-commerce seller, but and we're going to come back with some fantastic prices. If we're out of whack, it's one reason, like it's not apples to apples. Something's got to be out. But anyways, yeah, we can definitely help the Amazon seller coming in brand new to the business, and we'll help you out. It doesn't cost to ask us questions. But the medium and larger seller that's looking for new product development or to save money on logistics or for sourcing, we're definitely there for you to help. And you know, just go to the Honu site, and Honu is just like Honu Worldwide. And Afolabi, you can contact, if you hit via the contact information, it's going directly to Afolabi.
Yep. Another thing we use, Carlos, is we have this litmus test. If you found your supplier on the sourcing website, 9 out of 10 times I'll beat that price. If you pay your suppliers in US dollars, 9 out of 10 times I'll beat that price. If you got an FOB price from your supplier instead of X work, 9 out of 10 times I'll beat that price.
So we have to tweak this, because I feel like that would almost be my answer. Like who is your customer? Anyone that is paying their factory in US dollars, that sourced their product on an RFQ Alibaba. What was the other one? That shipping FOB. That what else? I'm missing one.
Paying in US dollars, getting FOB prices, finding the suppliers on.
So if you're anyone listening to this, the 99.9% of people doing this, and for those of you that are listening to us, you are Honu Worldwide's customer. that I love that. Heck, I qualify.
and that's why I partnered with Afolabi.
Yeah. You just identified every seller in the Amazon space in three bullets. All right, guys. What let's wrap this up. So best way to contact is going to be HonuWorldwide.com.
Or just email us at savings@honuworldwide.com.
Savings, love it. Savings@honuworldwide.com and HONU worldwide.com, or as Norman helped me remember this in the beginning, is Honu World.
Yeah.
Honu Worldwide. Guys, I ask this of everybody at the end of the show. I'm a avid book reader, and anybody that's listening to this, it's also a book reader. I have the Entrepreneurs Book Club on Facebook. We read one book a month, and we discuss it on Zoom at the end of the month. Everyone's welcome. It's 100% free. But since I have brilliant people on the show, I'm always curious to find some new books to read or some insight as to whether they're readers and what books they are. So Norman, Afolabi, if you guys would mind, if you're readers, what's the best book you ever read and why?
You want to start off, Afolabi?
You start first.
Okay.
Oh, this is good.
All right. So I've like books that have changed my life.
Sure.
Okay. So E-Myth Revisited. It used to be E-Myth, and follow it, because if you systemize and automate, it'll change your life. There'll be less stress, less crisis management, but you've got to stick to the process.
Oh, you're saying follow it as in follow the E-Myth Revisit. I'm about to write down another book title called Follow It.
No. Yeah, follow the whole procedure. And like they have something called I went through it called the E-Myth Academy. And,
Really?
yeah. And it's just, it breaks down all the processes. It breaks down why do you have, or how do you, what is your company culture, how to build a performance-based company, mission statements, all the stuff you need, to build your brand, build your company, automate. But that's one. I do have like a couple of quick reads that it was Peter Blanchard, and it's Gung Ho and Raving Fans. And so those are two books that I thought were like just incredible quick reads.
By the same author?
Yeah, Peter Blanchard. But my the big one that I've got, just a sec here. I just wrote this down, but the one that I like.
So it's a new read of yours, or one that you've?
This one I've started to read a few years ago, but let me.
Tools of the Titans?
Tools of the Titans. Let's see.
That's probably what it is. Tim Ferriss, Tools of the Titans. You said big book, so I'm thinking.
Yeah, I know. Why don't you go over to Afolabi? I'll pull this one up.
Sure.
I want to get you all the right information.
That's good. Afolabi, what's your favorite book and why? It can be most impactful. It doesn't even have to be a business book.
Mm-hmm.
But what would your book be?
I think my world was probably turned upside down when I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Ooh, yeah. A lot of people's lives were turned upside down there.
I read that in college and it completely messed my brain up. It was just too much. And I sat there, I remember in New York in college, and I'm like, is this for real? And I'm turning the pages and I'm like, what? So I really like that.
That's the one that had the acronyms for, is it prolific or prodigious accumulator of wealth? It was like the accumulator of wealth acronym, I think, in that one. Whereas
that's probably the next one to reach that. That's the
Millionaire Next Door. That's what I'm thinking.
Oh, that's okay. That's another one.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad. That's Guy Kiyosaki.
Yes, Kiyosaki.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah.
He also did the Cash Flow Quadrant.
Exactly.
Yeah, great book.
From the same guy, I like the Unfair Advantage.
Unfair Advantage?
Mm-hmm.
Kiyosaki did that?
Yeah.
All right.
It's amazing what he talked about there, and I like it. And of course, the 80-20.
Yeah, of course. Definitely.
Yeah.
What about you, Norm? Did you find that book?
Yeah, I did. And I just wanted to go back to those two that I mentioned. So the one, the book that I was talking about, Raving Fans, it's how to have incredible customer service. And he has about 7 points there that if you want to have an incredible brand, you've got to have incredible customer service. And then there was that other one called Gung Ho. Again, simple read, but it's about the spirit of the squirrel, beaver, and goose. And the one is about gathering the information, or like him gathering the nuts, preparing for winter. The beaver is achieving goals, and then the goose is cheering on each other. So both by Ken Blanchard, and both very good, simple reads.
Awesome.
But the one that I love, and it was the 4 Agreements, and for some reason the author slipped my mind before, but I got it now. It's Don Miguel Ruiz, and he teaches basically 4 principles, and you can use this in your everyday life, or you can use it in business. But it's be impeccable with your word, don't take anything personally, don't make assumptions, and always do your best. Those are basically the 4 principles there. And again, it's just a quick read.
Absolutely. No, that's awesome. This is the first show. I think we're at almost 50 episodes, episode 40 with 10 bonuses, about 50 shows. And it's the first show that I have several books that I've not read. So go figure. It's just making me look bad here. No, That's awesome. I'm definitely going to pick up these that I haven't read. I've heard about the 4 agreements. So
Yeah.
I think I'm going to start there. A customer service book, and I'll wrap it up here, that it really just validated what I did. But if you haven't read it, I think it's a really good book on customer service, is Hug Your Haters by Jay Baer. Really good book. But guys, thank you so much for your time. I have no doubt that if allowed, I will impose on your time again and have you back on the show. Huge thanks again, Afolabi and Norman, for presenting at the Amazon Seller Meetup and being on the podcast. And with that, have an awesome day, and I'll wrap up here. I'll see everybody next week.
All right.
All right. Thanks for having us on.
Thank you.
Liked what you heard and want to stay connected? Join our Facebook group or find me anywhere on social media at Wizards of Amazon, or text the word Amazon to 69922.